Wait a minute. I don't believe it because if you go back and watch the live stream, it says it started, but we missed 30 seconds of the last live of our little playful
What?
banter. Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that. It
Our
wasn't.
our sprightly banter, completely
Yeah.
unscripted.
Just the goofy. Everybody thinks this whole show's unscripted. I mean, it looks like it, but hey, there's method to the madness. Nobody wants no heavy duty teaching at 7 o'clock at night.
No.
I don't want
Or
it.
6 or
All
5
right.
or 4.
Yeah, let
Not
loose, network, learn some stuff. Whatever, dude. And I said it today. I said it all week long. I don't know where I got this. Probably the same discount bin I get all my thoughts. But I said, fun is like the barbecue sauce to the tough chicken. That almost sounds wise. Like, well, what's the tough chicken? This thing I'm on right now is anything like, oh my gosh, dude. Look, I'm too old. If I don't have fun, I'm not interested. I'm
that's
not
you.
interested. I was on a video call. Everybody was real serious looking, and then I just started grinning like a monkey. Just I couldn't handle it. And then everybody else went, "Look at that guy grinning like a monkey." And then one lady said, "Hey, how are you?" See, that's what I was doing. I knew that 90% wouldn't want none of this, but there was one person waiting for me. And it's when I start doing a chimpanzee impression. See, attraction. So now that I think people can actually see this, um, let me
Yeah,
find it. All
no.
right.
I'm kind of like laughing right now because it's like I just realized in all the planning of everything, I forgot to do one critical step, which was to announce the winner of my Monday trivia.
Go ahead by
and
all
and
means.
and I was going to make a graphic, but that would require me to actually plan in advance. So we're not going to have a graphic yet again, and I didn't put the person's name on here, so I'll just verbalize it. And I'm such a bad person. So everyone, just wanted to give you heads up. What we often do in our collaboration is that we typically cross pollinate with one another because there's nothing better than to cross over our respective networks and audiences and whatnot. So in my wonderful failed attempt here of trying to get a winner for the uh my Monday, I'm like totally doing it in real time. Mike, you're gonna have to save me here, sir. I'm doing a dance to find it. I had a
I'm having
name.
fun watching you flop around like that. Is that wrong? Is that rude?
Yeah,
Because
I
you're
feel
always
like
in.
what you
You're,
want to
you're
torture
always
me?
got your. You always got your stuff together. You're always,
Do I really?
So to see you look like me for a change is really refreshing. It's entertaining. Keep going.
Oh my god,
Or would you
you
like
are a
me
funny
to
person.
just start rambling? Oh, by the way, while you're looking, I don't know. I don't know how this became a thing. I think it was Bonita Lee. Um, so now, like, people are inviting me to their live streams just to toilet paper their book clubs, and it's so weird, but it's fun, and I'm doing it. Like, I'm just
I lo-
super mom, right? God loves super mom. Out of nowhere, I just busted out my toilet paper and hit it, and everybody started laughing, right? Like,
you know
who
what
does
you
that?
I need you on one of my live streams where you toilet paper it because I think that's a thing. Like you
Oh,
haven't arrived until you've been toilet papered by Mike. I think that's what it is. All right, so I've got the name. I've got the name,
all
and I
right,
thought it
who
was a
is it?
cool name. And he probably doesn't give a rat's, but to do it. But so I just want to say congratulations. So it was the graphic was what? Okay, so you didn't solve it. What is 8 plus 8 equals 4? That's the riddle. So what's the answer? How does 8 plus 8 equals 4?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm bad at math. I use an abacus. I take my shoes off and count on my toes, man.
There's no
I'm not
math
even
on
gonna
this
try.
one. There's no math in this one. And in fact, in my hint, it says take your time. Oh, excuse me.
Oh,
Excuse me.
bless you.
Take take your time. That's a hint to figure out 8 plus 8 equals 4.
Let's do the clock, huh?
You're just so 8 plus 8 hours equals
Eight.
4
Ah.
p.m.
Okay, who got it
Ta-da!
right? I did. Who got it right?
Madison, that girl, Madison Corda, she got it
Madison.
like right away. She was the first person to respond. I'm like, damn it, Janet. So I will have to give. I have to go with Madison since she was the first person. But I want to give credit to
Yeah.
Harvey Tuck. That was a he gave me a funny answer. So Madison, you win.
Hey, Madison. She's one of the younger members of the pack, newer folks. She is great. She's great in communications. She's great at PR. She's great at marketing. So somebody better snatch her up before she gets hired. All right. So any marketing directors out there, Madison Corta with a K. Okay.
That's
Um,
right. So
all
I
right.
will add her name to the list. And so I think we should start the show, my friend.
Yeah.
You
And then
ready?
we'll bring out my magazine and questions. Go ahead.
All right.
Are you looking to grow your business and your mindset alongside a fun and awesome pack? Grab a chair and your favorite beverage and join Mike Ashebrainer, the business mechanic, and his win-win network for the Hounds of Business Happy Hour.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, what the hell took you so long? And welcome. Yeah, I meant to say and welcome. Um, Remember, if you would like me to toilet paper your virtual live stream or whatever you got going on, there's plenty more where this came from. It's like before COVID right here, man. All right. So, oh, by the way, so I want to share this with everybody. I don't know how this slipped my old brain here. Um, but so it was a while back when Sia had a little Zoom going on, and I was going through my mail, and I happened to notice a magazine. I thought it was somebody in my household, and it was to me. It was to me. So we got a picture of what was mailed to me,
Yes,
right?
we do.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know where the magazine went because I was like, man, I'm going to take a picture of where it says my name on it. And then I was on the live with all these women in SIA, and the only thing, anybody got anything to add? I'm like, yeah. Who the hell signed me up for that? All right, because that's actually funny. It's actually really funny. And the obvious person, that's why I know it is not her, is Melanie Lipman, right? Style coach. So it wasn't her because she's too busy to do stuff like that anyway. So I have narrowed it down. I think it was either Becky, could be, she's unsuspecting. Becky, uh, you, Sia, and Miss Laquelle, right? Laquelle probably did it. But anyway, here's the thing. I haven't got another one. It's been a month now. So thank you for taking me off. Look, I'm an honorary woman, but I don't need this much. Okay. So I appreciate the title, but I don't need to be on the mailing list. All right. All right. And speaking of that, I've been spending a couple weeks trying to find the least creepiest way to say this, but March is Women's Month, and again, what's our network? 98% women. At 97, we're getting some guys in there. There's two on the show today. Can you believe that?
I
Yeah,
know.
they found me. We ain't had two guys on the show since it started, like much less at one time. I don't think, maybe. So we're gonna have a great time with these folks here. But before we get started, I wanted to make sure that everybody knew what we had planned for March Women's Month. And I'm going to make posts about this so you don't have to remember it. But really just make sure so a couple categories that I want you to reach out. If you're up and coming out of college, or maybe you just switch careers, maybe you're in law school at 30, 40 years old, doesn't matter. If you're new to something, I want to pair you with somebody who is seasoned, a seasoned professional. Right. So we might have, I don't know, Melanie Lipman and Lucia Cantor say no more. Right. And two people coming out in business and in law. Right. That would be a great time to see mentorship and get their questions answered and network real time on the stage here. So if you're interested in that, I'll make posts, but just so you'll know, law students, right? Talked about that. Experienced attorneys, coaches, there's authors, anything in law. Just I want to keep it general. Uh, New and experienced people in the tech field. Well, that's a big bubble there, right? So just tech, communications, PR, and media. If you're wanting to write a book or get into writing in general, and you're an author or maybe a content creator or something, that could be good. Podcasters and live streamers, maybe the three backstage would repeat this in March. I'll try to treat them right. And then something I haven't heard of. Maybe you're a trapeze artist or something, right? Something like maybe you're a female mom coach to other female up and coming mom coaches. I don't know. Just send it to me. So there's the email is the best way because I am behind on my LinkedIn. But either way, want to hear from you. Would love to communicate and kind of unfold this in March because it's coming faster than I can imagine is coming. All right. Clear as mud. Miss Sia.
There's mud, and I think, yeah, no. If there's any questions, just ping him. Everyone knows where to find Mike on LinkedIn. He lives there. So yeah, no, I'm pretty much excited what you got going on for today's show, sir.
Yeah. You can find me in a tree somewhere south of Louisville. All right. So I had, before we bring this excuse me, before we bring this lady up, tremendous courage. I just found her. I don't know. Like, that's why I love doing what I do, bringing people to this show. People in the comments make this thing happen. Love to hear y'all's input. We put your questions up here. I mean, if we just did this and nobody was here, it would suck, right? Like, let's get real. So just wanted to let everybody know, but I met this lady just through the networking, and she just popped up. And I think I almost scared her because you know how sensical people calm people, and I come along like booger booger booger, it's a little scary, a little burning bush style. But what I noticed about her was she had tremendous courage. Very kind of shy, but assertive, but kind of introverted, artistic type. And I saw her do a live stream, and I was like, you know what? I know what kind of courage that takes, man. Like, I know. I had a friend out of high school that reminds me of Johanna. And I was like, what courage is that? Right. And we talk about that all the time, Sia, right? We talk about, you know, not having confidence. That don't come first. You have to have courage. Right. Just, I try hard, but I still look like a donkey's backside when I usually try. Right. Well, I
Be
did.
nicer to yourself, sir. Be nicer to yourself. Come on. We're talking about self-love conversations with yourself internally. Come
I
on,
love
dude.
myself. Oh, I love you. You saw me backstage, You know I love myself, right?
You do.
That
You do.
sounds weird. Yeah, comments below. What the hell is he talking about? You don't want to know. It's a kid show. All right. So let's bring her up. Let's just bring her up. Stop talking. And by the way, while we bring her up, let's show her what I did because, again, I'm quite the artist, right?
You are quite the artist.
And I have little kids, right? We all saw what I did with the oil change lady, right? I did her rendition. So I wanted to put one up there for Johanna. I know the pictures suck, but even a clear picture doesn't do justice. Here's why I wanted this up here. Me and my 4-year-old decided to draw Johanna. And can you tell which one? Maybe Johanna. Anybody in the comments? Can you all tell which one I drew versus the 4-year-old? And by the way, which one's better? All right, so let's go there. Johanna, which one did I draw?
Well, I know you drew the orange one, and your daughter drew the pink one.
Did I tell you?
I think so, but I guessed it. I guessed it when you asked me. I was like,
Okay.
oh, it's the first one for sure.
Hey. Okay, well, maybe you can answer this and be real careful before you answer. I'll kick you off my show. I'm a petty man. All right, which one's better?
Your daughter's is better. She took
All
more
right.
time.
Johanna, thank you for coming. It was great to see you here. I wish you all the best.
You're horrible. He's terrible. Girl,
I should.
Normally I bounce myself out at this point, but look, I feel like I need to protect you a little bit today.
Yes.
So
Yeah. She needs help.
You need help.
Oh, and before I get into all that she does, though, like I felt good. I felt really good. I popped into her live stream. She turned around like she saw a ghost, but it was me, Raquel, other people in the pack, and Eagles were there. And she turned around like she just met Santa Claus when she was 4. I mean, it was, guys, this is what it's about, dude. She was so happy. Didn't it take you like an extra hour to paint that little picture because I distracted the hell out of you? Like, it took you forever. Yeah, but you didn't care. You just owned that whole show. It was so fun to watch you. So welcome to the show. I couldn't wait to get you up here. Gosh, so when, how, and why? What were you always an artist? Or you grew up with an artistic eye, some passion, or is it something that you kind of leaned into? Just kind of start from there. Tell us like how you really leaned into art as a career.
Yeah, like I kind of always grew up with an artistic eye, like, drawing and everything. And I had family members who did the same thing, but I definitely didn't think about it being like a career of mine, or at least trying to reach for it to be a career of mine until about like maybe 7 or so years ago. Before that, I was actually studying to be a therapist, a psychologist, and I gave that up to do some art.
That explains how you can handle me so well. So you got pretty far in psychology school, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
Yeah. I'm knocking the dust off the old schooling here. I'm glad I can help you. Um, so I mean, right there, I don't want to overlook that because you doing what people would normally do, and some people would love to do, but I'm assuming you identified that's not what you want to spend the rest 40 years doing. Like, so it the courage that it takes. Like, when did you actually go from art as a hobby to a side hustle? Like, tell us about that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I was I tried a whole bunch of master's programs and I was in the middle. I just dropped out of like social work school, to be honest, and I was trying to go and get my doctorate. And I was like super unhappy and there was I kind of always dabbled in art and there was one evening that I was like, okay, like I'm just going to pull out some oil pastels and paint, and I really enjoyed it, and I was like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Like you're supposed to be happy doing this, and you're supposed to be making this like your career. And I recommend that for anybody, like whatever you're doing. If you're a tinkerer, if you like IT, if it makes you happy, you have to get into that. And so it took me a really long time. It's definitely like a really long time. It's not like I made a painting and then posted it and sold it for $1 million by any means. That did not happen.
Yeah,
It
it's
took,
coming. Right.
yeah, right. I hope so. No, actually took me about 5 years before I sold my first painting. Maybe 3 years because I also took like a year and a half off of trying to promote my art to like develop an art practice and actually start making artwork that I actually like. But yeah, so it just takes a long time, and I don't even know how to like explain it. Like you have to spend a lot of time doing art. Like I treat this like
Right.
my full-time job. So
So you got natural ability, but you have to hone those skills. It's like anything, right? Being a natural
yeah.
athlete, being good at business or public speaking, you need to spend time honing it in, right? Getting better and making it yours. Um, well, so what are your sources of inspiration? Like, and first of all, what kind of art do you do? There's pastels, there's painting. What kind do you do, and what do you find is inspirational when you do this?
Yeah, so I work mainly in soft pastels. What are you doing, Sia? I don't know. I didn't know what that face
She
was,
looks
Don't
but
mind don't mind me. I'm gonna focus on you two, you guys. I apologize. I'm bouncing out here. Just you focus on you, girl.
sounds good. No, but I work in soft pastels. There's a whole bunch of different mediums, but I really like soft pastels. It's considered like a dry medium, but you can make it like you can add water to it and use it as a wet medium. So it's really versatile. And my subject matter is mainly landscapes or nature. So that's what I do there. And then I don't know, like anything's really inspirational. Like obviously nature is really inspirational, but I love to read. I love books and everything. And I find that to be really inspirational for me because I try and paint like how a book makes me feel, if that makes sense. And it's pretty much just like storytelling through painting.
Now you like drawing, art, like the nature and things, right? You're always drawing flowers and scenery, and that's why I call you the LinkedIn Bob Ross because that's
Yeah,
like all he did. And it reminds
right.
me when I was a little kid watching that, you know, the same thing. Like man, I have no artistic. There's nothing in me artistic, man. I mean, you saw my drawings, right? I mean, they're okay if you're in kindergarten, right, with a cold,
Not like
but but I can appreciate it though. I can appreciate what it takes to do it and go into it. And, some things don't go out of style. And I think good art is one of them. And good is up to your interpretation. So, how much time do you spend on your art? You talked about how much time it takes to, get better and do it. So, what's the average it takes you for one of your, what do you call it? Pastels? Is that how you? It's not a
like one
painting. What do you,
painting. Yeah, I call it a painting.
Okay.
I think a whole bunch of people call it a drawing or a painting, but you layer it like a painting, so I call it like a painting. But I don't know. Soft pastels go. They don't. There's no dry time, so I can work pretty fast. But like I would say, I don't know, because it's really more like an art practice, but I treat it like a full-time job, so I can spend anywhere painting like between 40 hours to 50 hours a week painting. Um,
Wow.
and in that meantime, like, and I try and tell other people this too, like if you're trying to do an art practice, to call it an art practice. Like when I'm in my art practice, I call my painting studies because it is just a study. And if you make a painting or make a study that you actually want to frame and put on your website, that's a good day. So, but I make a lot. Like I make a lot of
So
paintings, like in a day, a lot of studies.
here's the website if somebody wants to go check them out. So what? Tell us just as we wrap up. What is your what's your art practice look like? Like I saw you. Is that how it looks all the time? Like when you did your live stream, or is there? Tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, a whole bunch of different things. Like it kind of just depends on the mood that I'm in, but I work a lot in my sketchbook. If I'm not motivated and inspired, I just literally make marks and see what comes of it. Like I'll push paint around and see if I can, like, oh, I see a face, I see a tree, something like that. Other than that, I work really small, maybe like 5 to 7 inches, or to like a medium size work. And so, but that's kind of what my art practice is. Like I wake up every day and I paint, and I try and just make thumbnails, take pictures when I go out for walks and replicate those pictures. Um, and I kind of consider like reading part of my art practice as well, so I can get better at like interpreting that through my paintings. So I guess that's kind of what it looks like, but it's definitely like a lot of time. I sit in there and you have to make a whole bunch of artwork, and you're gonna make a whole bunch of artwork that doesn't look good, and you just throw it away. Like,
Yeah.
so like you can't put your ego into it. Like you're definitely gonna mess up and um, make a whole bunch of junky art, but the more you
And here's
make, the
the
more likely you're gonna have a good painting.
yeah. I mean, just like anything on Earth, right? Um, Yeah, I mean, it's just look, Sia's back here chirping around. I know it was you. You took all that time. She's telling me we had 23 minutes in, and it was her that sat there and spent like 6 minutes trying to find a name, right? So you tell her, hang on. Anyway, um, love you, Sia. So yeah, wrapping up. I love the fact that you're kind of like me and a lot of people in this community where it's not just work, it's who we are. Like we own it, right? We want to make sure that what we do, the value we bring is reflective in who we are. And that's how you approach your art. So final words here. What inspired you? Because you want to help the starving artists, right? That's actually real. So is your live stream and some of the things you do is to encourage and help other people that may not be where you're at right now to do better? Why do you do it?
Well, it's like not a competition, like we can all make money from our art, and you're supposed to. Even if it's just to help fund your hobby. I mean, art supplies is real expensive. So, but that's why I do it. I see a whole bunch of artists struggling out there, and especially like they're comparing themselves to other artists who have like perceived success online, and it's like, no, like you don't get to see behind the curtain for those artists and how long it took them to actually make a sale, and how much they're in the studio and how many bad paintings they have. Like you're only seeing the good paintings that they're showing, and you're only seeing technically like maybe if they make a sale or two or something like that, but you don't see like behind the curtain how much hard work it takes. So I just try and like hope that other artists like keep going, but also kind of get rid of that illusion that there's not going to be an overnight success. You have to keep working towards it.
And that's the thing about you, consistency. You consistently show up. And by the way, art supplies are not free unless you're me and finger paint, right? Like Animal on the Muppet Babies, right? Finger paint, right? It's me. So
Yeah.
if people want, okay, so I'm going to play Oprah here. All right. So we want to make sure that somebody who wants your paintings, who likes what you're saying and who you are, they go to your website, johannareneeart.com, right? And
Yep.
check it out, man. Buy one for the neighbors or something. I mean, Valentine's Day is coming, but
Woo.
share. That's what this show is all about, man. Taking good people with good hearts to have courage to do something, and making sure they're visible. You know, it's like you do great things, but if you're in a cave and nobody can see you because the lights are off, what's it for? And that's
Mhm.
why I'm so happy to have you here. Tremendous courage. You're an encourager. Um,
Aw.
so yeah, and you calm me down. And God, everybody knows I need some calm, right? So appreciate you being here. You're all heart, and we'll have you back soon. All right, and I'll go crash your
Awesome.
show again
Appreciate
next
you too.
Tuesday. All right, and your
All
live
right.
stream. Your live stream is Tuesday. What time?
Tuesday at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Mountain time. All right, mountains.
Mountain
All right,
time.
all right. Well, you have fun. Go take a breath. You did a great job, and we'll have you back. All right, good job.
Awesome.
So
Thank
proud
you.
of you.
Appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am. Ain't that fun? I mean, what's the comments? I don't see any comments coming up. Share some of that. I mean, people. Dude, the courage on the Mary Baker, I do finger paint like Animal. Right. All right. So let's get the show going. Um, yeah, no, I say that after 27 minutes. C is gonna ride me for that one. All right. So let's start with Rena. I always get nervous. I don't say her name right. I met this marketing dynamo from tuning into Gabe Leal's live stream. All right. So once I start peeking around with Gabe, trying to figure out if I was doing okay or not, because he's the king, right? Uh, Rena was there. And so when Gabe was crazy enough to come on my show, some of the people like Nicole and Rena was there, and kind of out of curiosity, I guess, right? Had a chat with her about a couple weeks ago, and man, liked her instantly. All real, all heart, and that's my kind of people. So let's bring her up, man. Let's Rena. How are you? And you're not outside in the parking lot like I thought you were. All right, where are you? Don't forget to hit the mute button. You're muted.
I'm in my podcasting booth.
There you go. Podcasting booth. Man, it's dark in there. You got lights? You gonna
I
paint
got a
light bill?
light.
All
I'll move
right.
it a little closer to me.
I'm just giving you stuff. That's how I make friends. I only pick on you when I love you. So how are you today?
I need to be wrapped in toilet paper and then you can see me better.
Hey, daggum, can I do it on you? Can I just come out of nowhere and just throw a roll and
Woo!
leave? Can I do it? Oh, sweet G. Hey, Benita Lee had an intelligent panel. And she sent me the link, and she's like, come up on the show." And I said, "Are you sure? Because you know I'm not gonna come up there and talk about no damn books, right?" And she let me up there anyway, and sure enough, just started toilet paper in there, and the viewership went up, right? I'm like, "Yeah, there's a circus monkey here. Of course the viewership went up." Then I left, and everybody got smart again. So you're no stranger to podcasting, marketing. I see you everywhere. Love your content, love your heart. So
Aw.
before I bring everybody else up, I want to know, what did you do in your career before your current, gig and all the live stream and podcasts and stuff? What was your background in?
I got my start in television and radio. So I started working in radio in college at an NPR station on campus at Purdue University. And what's so crazy is by me creating a podcast and being almost 300 episodes in, kind of like what Johanna was saying, is you get better, you hone your craft. And now I am going to be an on-air announcer at Cool.fm, the new Cool.fm starting in March.
Sweet. Look how lucky I am. Look, everybody in this PAX heard me say I'm trying to catch Joe Rogan before they're Joe Rogan. Look, I caught Rena Friedman-Watts before she's Rena. Oh wow, look at me. All right, I'm gonna savor this. I'm
Yes.
gonna make a bunch of shorts. Look at you, Miss Famous. All right. And so like Johanna said, was it overnight or did you work your butt off for many, many years and with
Oh
a
my
lot of
gosh. It's
disappointments?
been 20 plus years, to be honest. Yeah.
So you earned it. Yeah. That
I think
success is earned.
so.
Yeah, I'd say so. Um, so tell us about your current podcast, Better Call Daddy, right? Absolutely brilliant. I love the website. I'll tell you in a minute what I love about it. But
Yeah.
what does your podcast talk about, and what is the best audience for it? Like, what does the audience get from it? Like, what are they looking for when they come there?
Yes, I love that question. And that is definitely a question that podcasters should think about in creating their show. So I have a podcast with my dad, and my original thoughts were I worked in casting in television for years, and I was like, ooh, I could book like wild and crazy stories like shock and awe. And I started off with that. I booked like YouTubers and reality stars and a Jeffrey Epstein survivor, and where that is really interesting and cool. And I do sprinkle that in and like to have conversations with my dad about that. What I have found is that my audience really responded most to when I did stories about inspirational fathers, absent fathers, more of like men's issues. So I've been leaning more into that as I approach season 4. And my show is really for daddy's girls, dads, and I've been collaborating with, other podcasters, people that have worked in entertainment, and then just people that have daddy stories. And there's so many angles there. So that's what you can expect if you come check out the Better Call Daddy show. It's an interview style show, and my dad weighs in at the end of every episode with his wisdom.
Yeah, see, I didn't think this show idea far. I didn't think it through because I've realized now that I put 3 pros on a panel and I look like a donkey to I'm not y'all are seasoned and I'm like, "Ooh, ooh, yeah. Oh, I love it." But all right, so here's on your website, bettercalldaddy.com. I mean, you know me, like it says Better Call Daddy is for people who love stories. Hosted by the talented, I agree, Rena Friedman-Watts. Anyone from influential players to phone sex workers are featured on the show. Nothing is censored here. Well, I quit reading. That's all I needed to hear. Like, like, dude, I'm in. And by the way, I didn't ask that question to myself. All greats ask that. That's why I got Sia, and Brilliant Being Media because she asked the question because I would just be up here juggling or some shit. All right. So we hang on to you. We'll get back to you. I want to bring up the other guys. Um, Mark, the Zen Sandwich guy. Now, who hasn't seen his great content, right? Like, all right. So I just saw him. I'm like, what an interesting guy, man. What an interesting cat. And that was just based on his content. That was just based on his video. When I actually found out his story and read his bio and talked to him, wow, dude, that's just one hell of a story. I mean, and he's in Japan. Okay. So what time is it now in Japan?
It's 9:33 a.m.
9:33. Oh man.
Yes.
I hope you woke up early and had coffee first.
I'm
We
an old
appreciate
man.
you
I
being.
wake up early every day. Yeah.
All right. So take a minute because this story is a great, great story. Tell us your past career and what you do today and bridge it together if you want.
Well, I sort of had 2 past careers. First as a teacher, and I mean that I've taught every level. I mean, my first job was teaching junior high school, and then I went to grad school at Florida State and was a TA. So, but I had my own sections I was teaching there, and later I wound up teaching at universities in Japan. Then I decided to make a pivot and went to law school and became an attorney for practice law for 10 years, and decided that I would like to sleep at night and and not, I didn't do anything ethically wrong. I didn't get disbarred or anything, but I had some moral conundrums with what I was doing. So I walked away. And anyway, long story short, I'm now a washi, which is traditional Japanese paper. I'm a washi maker and podcaster here in Japan.
So
That's the short
powerful
version.
corporate attorney to Japanese paper maker who has
Yep.
basically turned his LinkedIn content and post into a Zen garden. That is hilarious, man.
That's
I mean,
that's the idea.
look, you're one of the few other people that I looked at and went, yeah, nobody's going to fake that stuff, right? Like me, like who's going to fake us on like a marketing scheme? Or, like this is just us, dude. And who the hell knew people would be like, whoa, go crazy
Yeah.
people, right?
Yeah.
Rena encouraged my nonsense. So what's that tell you? She's pretty sharp. So maybe she was drunk that
And
day.
by
I
the
don't know.
way, as I was listening backstage, Rena, you have the quintessential podcasting voice. a perfect voice for podcasting.
Oh, so do you.
Well, I kind of throw it a little deep sometimes.
She should be on TV. I got a face for radio, but she should be on
Well, no,
every
she's
media.
got a face for
Just-
TV as well, but I'm saying her voice. I know she's a podcaster, and her voice is
Yeah.
just. I could listen to her podcast. Like I've had some interviews where, like, I'm like, oh man, this is not going to be a stellar episode because I would turn this the person I'm interviewing, I would turn this off like in 5 seconds. But her, I would just listen to her podcast no matter what the topic was. She just got that soothing podcasting voice.
Oh, thank you. That's really sweet.
Well, you can make her
appreciate
turn into a
that.
tomato over all blushing. That's great. Do it again.
Well, this is the
Mark.
first time
Hey,
I've ever
wait.
met her. I just Anyway, go ahead. I was just
No,
listening.
you're
I was
good,
like,
man.
that's a good that's a solid podcasting voice.
Where
So,
in Japan are you?
What is your? Go ahead.
I'm in Yamaguchi, which is most people wouldn't know where that is. It's there's 4 main islands that make up Japan. I'm on the main island, but I'm at the bottom of it. So like I'm at the bottom of Honshu, the last prefecture before you go over to to Kyushu. So I'm by bullet train I'm like 5 hours from Tokyo, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
There you
you're
go.
like in the country, like
Oh
kinda
yeah,
like
so
where I'm
I'm
sitting
in
in Kentucky. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
in redneck Japan. Is that what I'm hearing?
Pretty much. Now, I met my wife in Tokyo. I was teaching at Kanagawa University and Tokyo Rikadai, which is University of Science. And she's a city girl and I'm a city guy. But we now live like in the, country bumpkinville. We live in the Mayberry. If anybody remembers the Andy Griffith show, we live in the Mayberry of Japan.
Japan's beautiful.
Mayberry.
I've been to Tokyo.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Mark, who? Because I don't want DJ to fall asleep. He's back there stalking them shelves. Well, you'll see in a minute. So what does your podcast talk about? And other than me, obviously, circus monkeys like your podcast and material. But what audience goes there, and what do they get the big? What benefit are they looking from? Like, who's your best audience?
Yeah, well, I'd say my primary demographic would be, kind of Gen X middle-agers like myself. Although I know older people and younger people have commented or sent me personal messages. So, I cast the net pretty wide, and hence the name, Zen Sammich. So the Zen thing is there because I do talk a little bit about mindfulness and being present in the moment. But the Sammich thing is there like, hey, don't take me too seriously. This is not a podcast for an aspiring Buddhist monk. This is more like, let me give... I try to have fun, try to have a variety of guests, and, I just try to give down-to-earth, practical suggestions for people and a Western version of Zen. So Alan Watts, if you're familiar with that guy, that kind of stuff, just practical advice and interesting stories. I just like talking to people who have an interesting story.
Yeah, you're a fun guy, man. And speaking of fun guys, all right, I got to bring up last but not least, Mr. DJ. I think his birth certificate says disc jockey, DJ Flores.
What's up, man?
So disc jockey Flores. Hey, look, he's coming live from some stock shelving grocery store. All right, where are you at? Kroger? Is that where you're at?
I think you kind of cut it. I think you cut it off over here now. I think you cut it off a little bit. Yeah.
I seen you move the ketchup and stuff. Yeah. All right. Good job.
I'm in the floor resale right here. I'm in the basement.
He's a serial entrepreneur, podcaster, getting into live stream, and also works as a stock guy at a grocery store. Man, you are just bad, man. Bad to the bone. How are you today, man?
Everything I could do, man. I'm great. Thank you for having me. I second what Mark said, Rena. Your voice, I would listen to you all day long too. You do have a great voice for it. So yeah, I agree.
Oh my gosh, I'm coming back on this show.
So
I've got if I could just cut in for a sec, I've got another question for Rena. I was reading through when I was on, I wasn't reading the comments and I read back through them. Somebody asked, like, you've been in it over 20 years. Did you start when you were like 2 years old? I mean, you look like you're 23.
Ooh, you and I have to connect after this. Just keep that coming.
Hey, Mark, flattery will get you absolutely everywhere, bro. Good job.
Everywhere.
It's true.
Especially when it comes to live streamers and podcasters. Yeah, we like it. We'll act like we don't, but we like it. So look at the comments. I'm blushing like a tomato too.
A little bit of comments, a little bit of reviews, a little bit of subscribe. New best friends.
Right.
Yes.
So DJ, I met you.
Yes, sir.
You were basically playing Mr. Monopoly, just running around buying at flea markets and all kind of stuff. Pez Spencer's company. I don't know what you just buy
That's
everything,
right.
right? So
Yes, sir.
yeah, because you're a true connector and a pioneer. Yeah. So I've been using Becky Wolf words. I've been learning. All right. So how did you get into the whole serial entrepreneurship thing and podcast? And where'd you come from?
Dude. So I was blessed, I guess, with the ignorance of belief in myself, since being a kid. And so I always believed there was something bigger. And so I've been in sales my whole life. I started in full commission sales very young. I was by 20 years old, I was full commission, working at H Gregg. And so full commission to owning a business is not very different, um,
All
except
right.
you get to run the whole thing instead of just sell somebody else's product. And so really just had this drive ever since being a kid, seeing my dad. Started Teen Dance Club when I was 21. Ended up expanding some other franchises, and now actually getting involved with loyalty brands. So yeah, excited, man. It's fun.
Well, that was the short list. I'm glad you didn't read. We didn't have
Sure.
time for you to read the whole list. Gee whiz,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, it's very short. We'll keep it short.
Hey, maybe you can go to Japan and invest in paper. Hey, see, look at me, redneck Cupid over here.
I
You ought to,
I'd like to hear more about that. I was curious
he
about that. I'm
really
like,
does.
what is that? I want to know.
Hey, he's not joking. He's not joking. Zen Sandwich. He's for real, man. He'll have you like Amazon of Zen of Zen paper, dude.
I have made international sales. I mean, we do most of our business here in Japan, but I've made international sales by people just being curious and like what do you use the paper for? And I've described some of the projects, and so I've had people
There it
order
is.
artistic stuff because my wife also does like orizome, which is like kind of it's almost like a tie dyeing of the paper. And then I had a guy who he wanted a sketchbook for his daughter for her birthday with handmade Japanese paper. I'm like, this is kind of expensive stuff, man. And he didn't, he bought it
Wow.
anyway. Anyway, I've done business just people
Hey,
being curious.
okay.
See?
Hey, so there's only DJ. All right. So this is the kind of Japanese paper I would be interested in buying and marketing. If you can get with DJ and turn this into an empire in about a month, I'll be your first customer. You do that.
Yes.
Look, he could.
Let's figure it out. The wheels are already spinning.
So, tell us about your shows because I know you got like 800 of them, DJ, and like, what
Yes,
is your
sir.
demographic? Who should come there? Who would benefit the most? Who would get the most out of what you do on your podcast?
So actually, I'm only down to two now. I am still doing Fridays on the original show that started it all, which is Sales Chatter Live. We started that. Ended up kind of just falling into that. Got into logistics. Again, like I said, in sales my whole life. Ended up first retail, then went to B2B, so road warrior. And so used that for a lot of the Zig Ziglar Mobile University, and it's where I kind of fine tuned a lot of personal development that I didn't know I was soaking in as I was just driving, trying to sell appointments. Ended up then getting into logistics and kind of felt guilty. There's a lot of money in logistics, but there's not very good training in logistics. And so I thought, well, what can I do to help? So created a Facebook group. It blew up. I think we got a little over 28,000 members now. And
Wow.
ended up got reached out from a guy in Canada, Dan Deegan, and he has a company called HPLS, which is High Performance Logistics Sales. Said, hey, do you want to do a podcast with me? Yeah, sure. And next thing I know, he said right after we were done recording, he's like, you want to start ours? And I'm like, yeah, okay. And we quickly went from 2 days a week to 5 days a week, and yeah, it was pretty fun, pretty crazy, and
So
that was
you just
it.
work at the grocery store for fun? Because it sounds like you don't need to do that for money. All right, so I'll let it go. I'll beat the dead
Yes,
horse. Look at
yes.
her. He just won't. He won't stop, and then he shakes toilet paper for no reason. Look at Rena. She can't handle this. Mark's like, yeah, I gotta go. It's too early. Hey, so I would have to say though, like anybody that has a pulse would probably resonate well with your show. I mean, you're just a fun guy, dude. I mean, you talk about anything and everything. So, but is
Yes.
it a lot of entrepreneur stuff or?
Correct. Yeah. I really, I guess my thing of focus is more mindset, entrepreneurship, really getting the courage to get to the next level. And that's what the new show we're going to be starting, which is going to be branded and presented by Loyalty Brands. But it's so we're a franchisor of franchisors. So we have 12 brands under us right now. It's franchise. So it's helping regular individuals who want to take that passion, like the I forget her, Johanna, what like she did, and just taking a passion and turning it into a business. That's kind of what I've seen franchising as for a long time. And so yeah, the new show will be interviewing the franchisees and potential franchisees, and somebody who's just looking to take the next step into leaving corporate America, leaving the rat race behind, and maybe joining the business world.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of that. I mean, COVID, kind of catalyst and push people out of their comfort zones, but they haven't slowed
Yeah.
down. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So, Rena, Miss Magic Voice over there. Look, now she can't stand it, y'all. You make her. Well, hey, let me know when you're on the show. I'm gonna make a big deal out of it. We're gonna watch it like the Super Bowl. I'm gonna turn your channel on. I'm gonna see you premiere. Oh yeah, yeah. We're gonna go. We're gonna support you. All right. So again, loaded question. Answer however you want. But what was the catalyst or inspiration? You know how it is. We're like, oh, you should do a podcast. You're like, whatever. Oh, you should do a podcast. I might do a podcast. But what was the catalyst or the inspiration that actually made you do it for the very first time?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Honestly, I worked for another podcaster and right up until the pandemic. And I was like, I feel like I can do it now. After working for other people for like 20 years, I managed somebody's Instagram. I really grew somebody else's following. I booked her huge guests. And so I felt like I had all of the pieces that I had done for other people and I wanted to try it for myself. And I knew my dad wouldn't back out. Like, he gives me such valuable advice that I felt like his advice could help other people. And so for me, I was like, I'll get special time with my dad. I might help a person or two, and I'll get to use my casting chops like all in one.
I love
Love
that.
it.
I love
Look for the good. You just looked at the good. I mean, there's a million reasons why you shouldn't, or somebody would tell you shouldn't, and all that. But you just looked at what was important, right? And now look at you. Now look at you. Everybody's
I
praising your
mean,
voice. You'll be like, "Yeah, look,
it's
I'm so
crazy.
happy for you."
Like, I just want to like seriously inspire other people because like I never thought I would be able to like interview Jerry Springer or James Altucher or Evan Carmichael or these people that like I really look up to and that I love their content.
Redneck.
And when you have your own platform, you would be surprised who you can reach.
Well, you didn't say the redneck. I mean, can I go in between
Yes,
like
and the
Jerry Springer
redneck of
and like maybe
LinkedIn
Drew Carey?
who toilet papers cabins.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
from
So,
Louisville too. How cool is that? I just have to throw that out there.
yeah. Oh,
I'm from
and let me
Alabama.
throw
Does that
something else out there.
doesn't that make me a little
Hey,
bit
you
more
get
That's
points
redneck?
for
funny.
that. That's redneck factor.
It's down there.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in Japan, but his heart is in the South. I can that's how he can put up with me. Yeah. So, yeah, and by the way, you're just such a good person because you introduced me to some people local, and, my goodness, like, like love at first sight, even through my goofiness, they're like, "Yeah, I'll talk to this guy again." Professionals, right? So, I love this because this is what it's about. People in the comments, people on here on the stage, it's just good people, man, and that's what it's here for. It's not just to have fun and learn. It's to put it in use and meet people in the comments and up here and support each other. We're not
Yeah.
special. I mean, we put our pants on, eat, use the outhouse the same way, right? Yeah, I said outhouse, dadgummit. And there you go. There's your first sip. Only took 50 minutes, dadgummit. There's two. Every time we say dadgummit, you got to take a sip.
It's your third.
Yeah,
You said it once
it's hot.
earlier.
Oh, did I? Oh, he's keeping
Yeah,
score
I'm
over there,
counting.
man.
You did.
I love the look on Mark's face when I asked Rena first, and he's like, "Yeah," like Charlie Brown, like, "Please don't let the ball come to me." That was a long ass question. All right, so let's pick on Mark. Mark, what was the catalyst that pushed you to actually just do it, man? Feel the fear, not be
I
great, just
yeah,
go at it.
I've got my answer for that. First, let me give a quick shout out to one person listening right now, Randy House. Not only did I steal his question earlier when I said, Rena, you started 20 years. What did you start when you're 2? He also is my biggest promoter. He made a comment about that too. Like every time I post something, he will say something funny and he'll say, now I'm going to go have a Zen Sammich or something. So anyway, shout out to Randy House. He's
Yeah,
an awesome guy.
yeah, great guy.
Randy, that's awesome.
To answer your question, Mike, the catalyst. Well, do you know the Gandhi quote, be the change that you want to see in the world or whatever? Okay, so
Yep.
I'm an avid podcast listener, and my go-to, my favorite is one by Malcolm Gladwell called Revisionist History. Love that podcast. And now I can't, he's got a whole production team and he's got the money behind it. I can't put out one like that, but I try to do the indie version of something like that. And to answer your question, there was be the change I want to see in the world. There wasn't a podcast for me like that. It was Zen related and it was fun. If you go look up other Zen podcasts, you will and listen to them, you'll be asleep. You'll feel like you're meditating because you'll be asleep in 5 minutes. They're so dry, they're so
Right.
boring. And I just try to add some humor and life's supposed to be fun, not all meditation all the time.
Thank you. Hey, I said this the other day all week. Again, fun is the barbecue sauce to dried chicken. What's dried chicken? Yeah, mostly every damn thing I see is dried chicken, man. Look, if I was on I think I said this earlier. I don't know. I say a
Dried
bunch of stuff,
chicken.
but I was on a very serious call, and I was like, man, am I at the Smile Hater Club? What? So I just decided to grin like a monkey. Just cheese it out. And then everybody else went, ew, right? And one person cheesed back at me. And that's why I did it, because I'm not worried about the other 9. I'm looking for the other monkey in the group, dude. So I love what you said, man. I didn't see something for me either. That's why I just kept seeing fake things or other things. And I'm like, damn. And then I found out that there's probably 70% of the other population that feels like I do. Like we don't belong anywhere. So I just
Right.
started the Redneck Burger King Kids Club and just, filled it up. So DJ, man, what was the catalyst? I'm going to think you were born, Mr. Monopoly. So what was the catalyst or inspiration that pushed you to actually just start doing it, man? The podcast and live stream and
So
all this.
so the podcast was honestly was Dan. I mean it was a blessing that he reached out. I had thought about it for a while. COVID, I think like a lot of us, like even Mark had mentioned, I think we're around that same age that we fit in that group. That we're kind of okay, what's going on? This isn't how this world's supposed to work, and then this became more normalized, and then it was just him asking me to come on and do that was like, okay, yeah, this was fun. I love this. And then when we finished and he asked me, I was like, oh, thank God, like yes, I'll do it. And I was scared at first, and it's it's very, I'll tell you, he said something to me that I took to heart, and he said, is just be you, say what you believe, what you think. The right people will follow you, the rest will fall off. And at the same time he said, just put it out there. Don't It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be real. And so like anybody who's really thinking about doing it or on the fence, like do it. I promise you, like the right people will find you and it will change your life. The connections, the
Yeah.
network, the people that you meet, it's amazing. The last piece of advice he gave me when he talked was, I guess, selling me to do it, was he said his mentor, which one of his great mentors was Bob Berg. He said he told him, put content out for a year and you'll never have to work again in your life. And it's pretty true.
Look at him. I mean, look at that face. That face don't lie. That's a happy face, man. Look, that's a happy guy. That's a happy Rena. Look at her.
Like
Look at this. All
Raquel, look, Raquel just did the leap. I was talking to her before she did it. I'm so glad because I'm proud of you. You're killing it. So yes, I'm so glad.
Yes,
She did that.
Raquel. I love her too.
Oh
I
my
got to meet her
goodness.
and Gabe in person. I'm so
Yeah,
lucky.
dude.
yeah.
She caught
You are
on like
lucky.
a forest fire, dude. This is how I am. I knew that like 6 months ago when I taught her how to network and grow on LinkedIn that she was going to destroy me. I mean, I just knew it. And she's like, "Oh, Papi, maybe one day." I'm like, "No, like in 2 months you're going to destroy me and you're going to like pass me up this year." And look what's happening. That's the true mark of what we do. This is why you all do it,
Yeah,
because I'm not threatened by that, man. I'm excited by that, because what does
I
she do?
agree.
Good people reciprocate, man, right? That's the whole point. Like helping her all that time. Now who's helping me? She's always championing people and connecting me with folks.
Yes.
And you guys are just doing it, and you're doing it from the heart, man. I know people think that's hokey, but I'm telling you, that will beat any sales strategy or support any sales strategy, hands down. All right. And yeah, I got records. If you want to compare your sales against my hugging babies and signing that Applebee's napkin, I'm not actually homeless. I just played one on live stream. So let me go to I think Mark's playing in his little mini Zen garden. Let me go pick on Mark again. Hey
I'm
Mark,
making
this is one
notes over here. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, Raquel Flores wants to know, what's the oddest thing you found in Japan?
Oh.
There, I'll make it brief, but there are three sorts of answers to that. The sort of obvious cultural shock thing are like conveyor belt sushi places and karaoke rooms. Like in America, you go to a karaoke bar and like you're singing in front of everybody. It's actually a lot more fun in Japan because it's like you and 5 of your friends go rent a room, get a pitcher of beer, and you just pass the microphone back and forth. That's a lot more fun than singing to a bar of strangers. But the really shocking thing for me, especially living in the countryside, this doesn't happen in Tokyo, but like in the countryside, the neighbors will walk into your house if you don't have the door locked, because the genkan, which is the little area where you take off your shoes before you come into the house, is technically considered like public space. And so like if somebody, like I've been home before and we didn't have the door locked, and this old lady, we live out in the countryside, and so everybody's a farmer out here, and she wanted to give us some cabbage. So she just like walked in the house, like, "Sumimasen, excuse me." And I was like, "What? Is somebody in my house?" And it was an old lady standing there with like 2 big heads of cabbage. And so I was like,
Oh my,
"Arigato, thank you." And so that's kind of shocking. Yeah, and then
wow,
the third
that's
answer, yeah, is like linguistically shocking. Is like Japanese people don't like to say the word no. So like if you ask something, and Americans were direct, and you might ask your boss, "Hey, can I do blah blah blah?" And if the answer is no, it will come out more like, I don't know, maybe it's a problem. Let me think. That means no. I'm like, why don't you just tell me no? Just tell me I can't do it. So that's, those are
Sounds
the
like the
three
people in the
things.
South. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Yeah.
out here. We just
It is a little bit sometimes.
yeah, well, that's why I like my northern friends, man. No
Yeah.
is
They're
no, and
direct.
we all save time. Yeah. Yeah.
I went to
Sometimes I
law school
cry
in
a little, but
Syracuse. So yeah. Yeah.
there you
Yeah.
go.
what other but the audience has better questions than I do. I told them I just put a comment like, "Hey, I'll throw my shit away. Y'all just ask questions." Right? And this is what I find fun. Everybody on here is used to being the talker, and y'all behaving well. Like that should y'all should clap. Like nobody's still on the mic. Like man, y'all remember when I did my public speakers were behaved. The only ones that weren't behaved was everyone that Raquel Flores was on. That's something to that. All right, just picking on you. Hey, uh, Rena. All right, this is to you first because I know Zen Sammich got a ton of content on this question. All right, what's the silliest thing that you've done or seen or encountered when you were on your podcast?
The silliest? Is that what you asked?
The silliest, just like shocking, silly. Oh wow, never, because you probably did 100 episodes, hundreds of episodes, but there's got to be one thing you were like, no freaking way, like.
Well, one time I did a prank where I called my dad live and told him I was pregnant again. That was kind of funny. And I
Oh
was
my
encouraged
God.
to do that by Lisa David Olson. She's a comedian, podcaster. And then another prank I
That's
did was I
awesome.
told my daughter that my swollen ankle got like stuck in a drawer and that she needed to bring a knife and some butter or some Crisco to help me like grease it out of the drawer. So that was kind of funny. And I like recorded it in episode. That was really fun and
Okay,
crazy.
so you're basically just the older version of my daughter. Yeah, dude, she tries to prank me and do stuff like that all the time, but she forgets who she
That's
learned it
so
from,
funny.
right? So yeah, so all right, look at Mark. Are you ready for that, Mark? Same question, man. Odd, shocking, funny, what the hell moment in your podcasting career?
Two came to mind. One is it was actually when I was on another podcast, and I look back. I've been on a couple other podcasts as a guest, and this one was the most. I was the most out of place of any podcast you can imagine. I can mention the podcast name. You can go look it up because I think it's out of commission now, but it was called the Shamrock Special, and the dude that was hosting the podcast, he was wearing he was like a gamer. He had like a Mario t-shirt on or something, and you go look at his other the topics of his other episodes, they're weird. They're like gaming episodes. I can't remember what else. I was just out of place, but he had me on talking about conspiracy theories. And it was just like, this is odd. But as for my own, go ahead. Yeah,
No, I'm just laughing. Like
it's
you
weird.
like
It's so
talk
weird.
about paper, maybe. Yeah.
And but as for my own podcast, I will confess something. So I've done 102 episodes. There is one episode that I have pulled out of public domain. And because it was there, I've interviewed her 3 times. She has a following of like 100,000 people on Facebook. She's on every social media platform. Her name's Dr. Anna Zacherson, and she's a hoot. She's a great person. She's a Swedish person, lives in Berlin, Germany. She speaks like 5 languages. And I had her on the first time for science. That was great. On climate stuff, that was interesting. I've had her another time talking about fear. But her shtick, her niche on Facebook is she is all about science and kink. So like part of her thing when she posts stuff, some of it will be science related and some of it will be like latex leather kinky stuff.
Oh.
And so I thought it would be fun to I talked to her about science. Let's have her on. Let's talk about kink. Let's find the Zen and kink. Yeah, it didn't go over so well. I mean, it was fine. I was like, that's just really out of place for everything
like
else.
a hooker in a monastery. Yes, sir.
I took it out of the lineup. There you go.
Yeah. Oh wow. See, I'm gonna keep you around, dude. You make me feel good. I appreciate you. And you just go by, dude. You're like a pack of butter. You just glide through it. Like I would be standing there going, "Did you see that crap?" But you're like, you just slick as oil, man.
Zen way, man.
So hey, Nicole and Guy, the lingo. Raquel helped me practice that. She is a great lady. Also, Rena, another one that jumped on my bandwagon thanks to Gabe Leal. So she has a question to DJ. We'll just put it to DJ. Your most embarrassing. So we don't want your cutest story. Those two got away easy. We want your most embarrassing moment on the live or podcast. What was it?
So actually, it was probably just recently. So I was stuck. So Sales Chatter Live. They asked me to do every Friday. He said hop on. I didn't realize. It's kind of a moment like she just had. My daughter snuck up right here and was dancing in the background, waving. And I was like, oh no. So I brought her up. And so if you do check out that one of the last Fridays of Sales Chatter, she did make a little appearance. But yeah, so Oakley came sneaking up from the back, and I was like, no. But yeah, that's probably the
fun.
most embarrassing. But that was fun.
That's fun.
I mean, it ended up okay.
Yeah, I don't even remember when I did it. I got to go back and find it. The dog came through the doggy door because I'm in my office shed / workshop. So she decided to come through the doggy door, run through all my cables, and damn near pull my laptop backwards. So yeah. So then I'm like, push the mute button. You see me go, whack, and like, like that was, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm live. Shouldn't do that. Oops, right? Oh wow. We don't have any more questions? Oh my goodness, God gracious. I got questions. I just want the audience but they're just having a ball. They're like gremlins in the comments, man.
They
Have
are. I
fun.
love the audience. I really do. I feel like Becky up here, and shout out Becky. I seen you if you're still there, but uh, she, I'm getting caught up in the chat. It's amazing. Everybody talking and stuff. It's crazy.
It's hard not to play in that, dude. That's why I love going to other
Well,
people's shows so I can go play. Like, I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
somebody asked me today, "What do you think, Mike?" I'm like, I wasn't listening." I'm like, "I like pictures. I don't know." Like, I just pulled the toilet paper out and started going crazy because I didn't know what the hell he's talking about. So, yeah, um, but it's my show, so I'm required to pay some attention. All right. Hey,
Nicole, that definitely
before we
beats
go,
me. Sorry.
so who should we pick on? Who maybe the audience would tell us who we should pick on first, but there's probably like a 10-hour delay on this damn thing. Um, Hey, we'll just go in order. We'll just go to Arena. She's a pro. She's on all pro circuit now on TV and stuff soon. So we'll just pick on her. All right. What advice would you give someone? So there's a little Rena. All right. She's out there and maybe she don't have the courage and she keeps getting self-doubt or, looks at us and goes, "Oh, I can't do that." Looks at y'all. She wouldn't look at me and say that at all. But what would you say to somebody that's just wanting to do it, but they're too scared or don't think they can? What encouraging words and experience would you share with them?
Find an encourager. So my dad is my biggest encourager, and I think that encouragement is actually missing. There's so much loneliness going on in the world right now, and for many years I actually wanted mentorship like in the workplace when I worked in corporate America, and I found it really hard to find a good mentor. So
Yeah.
I would say you should start a show just to find your tribe. And then from that, create accountability partners. Like you can literally find encouragers or accountability partners with people from online. That's totally fine. Find like minded people. And even if you only check in with them like once a month to see where they're at, not even necessarily to do business together, but just to encourage each other to like keep your dreams alive. That's the
Dude,
biggest piece.
love it. Keep going.
Keep going. Okay, so
Yeah, I
here's
was just giving
something
you
from
rah-rah. I
today.
wasn't telling you.
Yeah, here's
Keep going.
something from today. So I actually work with people that want to start podcasts. And here's something that I think you need to think about, like when you're starting a show. One, why are you creating it? Like you actually need to think about that. Why the title? Have reasons for that too. Who is the show for? Who are your guests going to be? And who are your listeners? Like if you think about those things, you will be much more intentional with what you put out.
Yeah, I'll try that starting next show.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Can I
Actually,
just echo a sentiment on that? Also
ahead.
I would encourage newbies to somewhat script. You don't have to totally script your show, but at least have bullet points that you want to talk about. Don't just show up and shoot the poo like I'm trying to be family friendly here. Like Joe Rogan. Like I can go to Starbucks and over listen to two people just talk, kind of have a theme or something you wanted a plan for your episode. So
Yeah, and you don't have to have it fully mapped out. Like a lot of
Right.
times I don't get to all of the questions that I want to ask. Another really big thing when you're first starting out is you have to be an active listener. And for me, like I naturally want to interrupt. So for probably like the first 50 episodes, I literally would mute myself because I'd rather have a pause than me stepping over what someone wants to say. Because a lot of times they're not even done with what they want to say and I'm ready to take over. Right? So if that's
Right.
your tendency, mute
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, and again, and sorry, DJ, if you're about to jump in, but it's another good point that I want to mention is that if you're recording your episode and you're going to edit later, you can let them go during your recording because you can always break up if someone goes on for 5 minutes and you need to break up that monologue because it might all be good and valuable information, but it can get, I break it up and I like go into the editing and I interject a little narration in between every 2 minutes or so. And it keeps the flow of the podcast going more smoothly.
You could even put in like a or I love what you just said. You can
Yeah.
like put in little. I do
Totally.
that sometimes.
And I'm gonna do my head just like you did it. That is a pro thing, dude. Look, I'm getting free advice here, hot dog. Hey, Rena, I love what you said. Um, it's like the movie Field of Dreams. Now I'm showing my real age. See this Avon lady wrinkle cream? I'm much older, right? So Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. I love what you said. All the people still watching this, all right, that just do it. That's what this whole show is about. The whole show is just to get off your duff. All right. So now I'm gonna Mark Reed, G-rated. Duff. All right, get off your derriere and just go do something. And I love it because that's why I did this, because I wanted to do something I haven't seen out there. I wanted to be surrounded, build a network. So, by the way, if you're looking for encouragement and encouragers, you're come to the right place, man. This is why this pack exists. This is why the nest is here. And this is why these great folks are here. Um, so you can do better and be better. Right. We're approachable, regular people, man. And I love it. So Raquel asked, we're going to shoot this to DJ because I don't want him to take his ketchup back there home and leave. All right. She said, what about if you don't have all the essential high-tech gadgets? Like, yeah. So, I mean, answer that
So
one.
I definitely back everything that both Renee and Mark said. They're totally true. And even Gary Vee. I mean, Gary Vee says that Gary Vee is the king. He will teach you the way, but he says just put it out. Whatever you're passionate about, put it out there. People will find you. But to Raquel's question, I mean, right now I have so liquidation. These are my shelves are from pallets. So we got into the liquidation business. And so to answer Raquel's question, I'm using a light that was from a pallet so it's free. It was some just cheap Amazon light. I don't even know. I think the actual like retail price was like $35, and the camera I'm using was just a webcam with $35. So, and they were both free in pallets, returned items. You don't need the fancy stuff. Just put your information out there. Just get your voice out there. That's all that really matters. Get your voice and your true message out there, and the right people will find you. Good people find good people. That's it.
You nailed a light to a pallet and they call us rednecks, Mark? Dude, did y'all hear that?
Yeah.
I bet Rita didn't nail no light to no pallet. Look at her. She might have. She's from Louisville, so she probably has in the past, right? So,
If you
all right,
saw
great
how
stuff.
like ghetto my setup was, like you're only
Yeah.
seeing the cool stuff, but my mic is like sitting on a shoebox right now.
By the way, if you want to keep people and little old ladies
Yes,
from walking in your house,
yes.
you should put a lock on your paper door over there. I'm sure that
Yeah,
might work handy.
it's
Yeah,
locked
nobody
today.
can break through
I knew I'd be
that.
live. It's locked today. Yeah.
I don't have no paper doors.
Hey, but to answer that question though, also other than the mic and my camera, you don't even need the camera. You can use your laptop cam, and
Yeah.
the quality is good enough these days. That's the only hardware expense. The video editing and the sound editing, I get open source free. I use Audacity. It's free. It's I use Shotcut for my video editing. You know, you can shop around, look at reviews online, and I wouldn't type in, if you're going to look up free, I don't type in the word free because it's usually going to trying to eventually get you to pay something for something. Look for like outsourced video editing reviews or something, and you can find a handful of freebie video editing software and audio editing software out there.
I mean, by the way, that's why I hired Sia and Brilliant Beam Media. Because could you imagine me back here with a banana going boo hoo hoo hoo? You're like, Jesus, I can't even do this when I'm pampered. So just outsource stuff you're not good at, or like go
Yeah.
do something, man. I do in-kind trades in the beginning. I still do them to this day. I mean, just go out there and ask who and how and show support to somebody, and good people reciprocate. That's what I found to be true. So Nicole asked a great question. I'm going to throw this in the middle and let y'all just fight like rabid dogs. All right. So whoever wants this. All right. Is it annoying when guests try to take over?
Let me take over and
And
answer that.
how do you handle that? I'm not getting bum rushed. Y'all are pros, man. Y'all are nice people. I handpicked y'all. I set y'all up. Yeah, I couldn't handle like
That's right.
Howard Stern on the show. Like I'd be dead like a long time ago. So go ahead, Mark.
Well, I mean, I was just making a little joke about taking over, but I have had guests that will go on and on and on, but I don't interrupt them because again, I've got the power of editing afterwards, and I can always cut out something. I can cut out the redundancies. That's typically what the biggest problem is. Someone goes on for 10 minutes, and 8 of those minutes was saying the same thing that they said in the first 2. So I just cut that out, and yeah, I don't interrupt people generally, but sometimes I'll say something that I can't let go. I'm like, well, let me just stop you right there. But generally, I let them go, and I try to edit an episode where they're talking 80% and I'm talking about 20%.
Yeah, and that's why I put in my email. Y'all read the email. I'm like, hey, if I start grinning and pointing to my face and doing this, like
Yeah,
that means I'm trying to move it along. But somebody should do that to me. I'm the most distracting person on the show. But hey, it's my show.
it's your
So
show.
yeah, well, DJ, let me ask you because you went from podcast where, like Mark said, you can edit it, right? You can do stuff in the behind the scenes later. I sure as heck can't. So you're going from podcasting and live streaming. How's your experience?
Yeah. So we did podcast and live stream. Live stream, it's just, I mean, again, I think to have a great show, again, with just echoing off of what both of them said, have a structure, have some questions, but it doesn't have to be all planned out. I think the off the cuff does help, but just having the genuine message and letting them talk. To be a uh, great in sales, I think a great podcast host, you have to be a great listener, and an active listener. And so just catching certain things that they say, but letting them talk and letting them just share and kind of, you know, having little ways to trigger them to kind of let you jump in, or having certain things that, I'll tell you. Ended up from Sales Chatter Live, had a younger kid mention that him and his friend had a code word that they would say if they wanted to go back to a point. So they would say something that was like to trigger them to stop or at least cut off their point. So I had mentioned that a few times to people who I knew would talk like, hey, if I say this, I want to actually you said something I want to kind of talk more about. And so that's like a little, like, I guess a nice way of, like,
Was it like a weird word? Like you had to work in the word cupcake or something, or like
Yeah.
banana,
you
or
know, you know what? So his was a weird word. I think
like
it
a
was
safe
like
word.
it was
Like a safe
yes, it was kind of like a safe word, and it was a weird word that I was like, hey, I like that. But when you say it, you're like, oh, hold on. When he said it, I was like, okay, yeah, I guess it would make me think like, whoa. And so, yeah, and it works. I'll tell you, it works. Try it. It works.
Oh, okay. Well, on that note, thank you for the setup there. Rena, do you have a safe word for your podcast? Like, so how do you handle? So, here's what I think. I think Rena smiles at people and they just shut the hell up. But how do you get guests from overtaking and going on way too damn long? Like, how do you handle that?
So I have a couple thoughts on that. I research people now a lot more than I used to.
Mhm.
Yeah. So if I'm going to have somebody on and they've been on a bunch of other shows, I'm going to listen to at least 2 or 3 episodes to kind of know their flow and what I'm getting into. So I would say
Smart.
know who you're having on. Or
Exactly.
if they haven't been on other podcasts, you might want to do a coffee chat first so you know what you're getting into. I have been surprised
Bingo.
though a few
Bingo.
times where yes, like I would ask one question and they literally took up the entire hour. And in that instance, depending on if it was good or not, the magic of editing, or I'll do a follow-up episode where I could actually ask the questions I wanted to ask. And to be perfectly honest, the third thing is like, I've not aired episodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
me too.
if it's
Me
not
too.
good, if it totally sucks, like, I'm not going to air
Yeah.
it at this point.
I've also put some in the can that I never put out there.
Yep.
Something I'm so glad you brought up about researching your guests. That I would put that near the top of recommendation as well, and that goes for in 2 different ways. But one that's really important is if that guest has actually been on a lot of other podcasts, I go listen to those podcasts, and
Yep.
I will catch guests using the same answer multiple times on different podcasts. So I beat them to the punch. I don't let them do it on my podcast. I've listened to them on 3 podcasts say the same thing. So then I work their answer into my question. So you said on blah blah blah
Smart.
podcast, da, 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 da. So what do you think about this? And I force them to think on the spot and give me a thought out answer beyond that canned response that they're using.
I like that.
I have something to add to that too. So to what she mentioned as well, the chat before. So that was one thing. Dan. So again, I learned a lot from Dan. Dan was a pro with this. I mean, he had a bunch of experience prior to us doing the Sales Chatter Live. But that was one thing we really did was we had that pre-meeting. So Sales Chatter Live was live every day. So we did not have the ability to edit. So we what we would do, the main reason for that, coffee chat or quick call before was to make sure that our messages aligned, because if they were, aggressive or do this or do that, and we're like, no, that's nothing that we even want like our message to be, then we just, they never ended up being a guest on the show. Sorry. But yeah, they were just never a guest on the show. And that's what it was.
Yeah, and sometimes you can screen till hell freezes over and it's oops. But at least you
True.
tried. I mean,
True.
you don't want oops every day, right? Yeah, you don't want oops every day, but sometimes you just get crappy weather, right? I mean, let's get real. But
Mm,
so I'm
true.
gonna close off by this, guys. You are fantastic. So there's 2 questions. I'm gonna let you pick them. All right. So I put them in the private chat so you can remember what I said. You can either answer why are podcasts, I guess, still or just important in general. So why are podcasts important when there's so many other media streams out there? Or how do you get your kids involved in your work? Or you can just answer both. I mean, it's not like I can go put you in timeout. So um, let's start with DJ because he looks like he needs to go nail another nail another light in that palette. Go ahead, man. Pick one.
So honestly, just really echoing, and I'll tell you, LinkedIn has been I think is the platform when it comes to this, but and Gary V talks about it again. I mention these people all the time because they're really who drive me to do what I do. But he talks about it all the time with just get a message out there, personal branding. Whether you work for a company or you have your own business, you work for yourself. Like treat yourself as your own company, because in the end, whether you're working for company A and you go to company B, usually your clients leave with you because of you. They weren't working with the company A, they were actually working with you. And so it's really just, I think, the power of creating your message, putting your message out there, and again, being genuine. I mean, people are gonna know if you're BS and you act like you're the nicest person in the world, and then you're a dick to everybody. Like people are gonna know. Eventually, the smell comes out. So you just you got to be real, you got to be genuine, and just get your message out there. And really, it will, whether it turns into a show where you're making money from it or just turns into content that you could just share with others. I mean, just the lifting that it's done for me, from anybody who's watched any of our shows. The end of the year last year, I mean, I had people emailing or messaging me I had no clue was listening to me, or that they even cared what I was saying. But to hear that it even helped one person was like, okay, I'm going to do this forever because it helped one person. Like, so what these other
Mhm.
people did for me, it did for one other person. So now I can't stop. And that's just what
Dude,
it is.
I found out my audience was fancy. I couldn't get over that. They're intelligent and yeah, fancy. I was like, oh wow, like
Yeah.
I didn't know that was wild to me. So I'm like, what should I do? I'm like, well, keep being a monkey. That's what they came to see, right? Um, and yeah, and I had a great thought and it just went in one ear hole and out the other. Imagine that, man. It's part of getting old. It's great. And all right. So we'll go ahead and pick on Mark. He looks like he's playing in that sand, that Zen garden again.
I
All right.
make notes. That's another thing I'd recommend podcasters is if you're listening to someone,
Yes.
make notes while you're going. Yeah. So
Yeah,
like,
it looks like I'm playing Candy Crush, but I'm actually taking notes. So that's
Well, some of what I'll say echoes what DJ was saying, and that's that you know, when you get positive feedback directly from people, it makes it all worth it. I used to sort of get discouraged when numbers weren't going up. I mean, my show has grown over the last 2 years, and I'm pleased with it. But sometimes I've gotten like, oh man, my numbers didn't go up this week or whatever. But then I'll get a DM, I get a direct message from someone that's like, hey, thank you for doing that show. It changed my life or changed my way of thinking. Boom, it's worth it for me. It's worth it for me right away. And then also doing podcasting, I get to meet cool people like DJ and Rena here. I mean, that I didn't know them before today, so I feel like I got 2 new friendships. If they're willing, if they don't block me, and last, this is a little side note. It's cool to see like how far your show can reach. Like I can see when my show's been downloaded in like Slovenia or something, or like 1 week, Chartable sends me emails like, "Hey, you were in the top 25 for self-improvement podcasts in Ireland 1 week." I'm like, "Really? Wow. That's crazy."
Wow, that's awesome.
Well, there might have been like 5 people, and probably they were looking for like the Drunken Pig podcast or something and hit mine instead. But whatever, I'll take it.
It's like we thought this was Jeff Foxworthy's show. Wait a minute, that's not Jeff. Hey, whatever, I'll take it. Yeah. And who did I not call? It was Rena. Is it your turn?
Rena, yeah.
It's my turn. I wanted to talk about how I get my kids involved in my show.
Yeah.
So I actually use my kids in the intro for the transitions, and I've brought them to many live shoots. I've brought them to like different events around town. My daughter's bat mitzvah is this weekend, and I took her to the event space last night to get on the mic and practice it. And she was already comfortable with the mic from having done some VO work in this little podcasting booth in the dark. So I take my kids, I show them what they're doing. Like the fact that I'm starting at cool.fm, I literally played behind the scenes of that for her on my phone. And then I shot her saying, "Oh my God, my mom's on cool.fm." And then I sent that to the station manager. Like, who knows, maybe her voice can get discovered too. Right. So I keep my kids involved in the whole process. Some of them roll their eyes like my 14-year-old, but yeah. I just wanted to say, like, if you're good at something, teach that to your kid. Like one of them, I mean, I've got 4, is going to take to it. Right.
Dude, I love that. No, because I used to get mad at my little girl running around taking pictures and selfies and talking about social media, and I was like, "That's stupid," And then I thought about it. I was like, I might have free help. She could do my video editing and stuff, right? Like I outsource it. And so, yeah, matter of fact, every time Sia pops up, she's like, "Is Sia gonna train me yet?" I'm like, as soon as we can, because, but yeah, bringing your kids. It's funny how I grew up talking about like hourly, $10 an hour jobs and complaining, but now my kids hear people, hear me talk about building businesses and networking, and it's a different mindset that I didn't have, but they think it's normal because they see us. And so, on your note, anybody watching this replay or live, if you don't have the courage, have it for your kids, have it for someone else. I mean, what's the point of having a story, having challenges? I heard someone say this the other day. They said your story is someone else's how-to manual. And I'm like, dude, like when I heard Mark, I'm like, yeah, like, hey, I was an attorney and I wanted to go make paper and be happy. Dude, I had the same internal dialogue. Like I told myself when I turned 40 not too long ago that I wanted to be happy above all else. Happy, happy, happy. And if I couldn't be happy in the career I'm in, then I was going to go be a damn rodeo clown or something I could be excited about and happy with. And now I just quit caring about the dumb stuff. And I want to encourage people to do that. Even if you don't have the courage for yourself, why would you think that your story and all the things that you've overcome wouldn't inspire someone else? I mean, absolutely. You're seeing it right here on this panel, right? Look, Miss Famous TV over here, plugging away 20 years, doing good stuff. Somebody take notice, and she earned that, right? Good for her. And so now I'm going to send her something so she brings me on the show. I don't know. Tell me how I can smooth you into getting famous. And then we got Mark, who, he's the Japanese redneck, man. I love it, dude. But people are coming to you. You're attracting people through your podcast, through your social media. You're not, dude. You never ask anybody to buy anything. yet you sell the hell out of
Well,
everything.
I mean, it would be great if they would join my Patreon. I don't know.
All right,
They'd
shameless plug,
support
right?
the show. Yeah, they'd support the
Yeah,
show. The show does
dude.
cost money.
I like people who are real and attractive, man. And I joked about having a OnlyFans page where I'm just sitting there saying crazy shit, eating an apple, like
Might
nothing going
work.
on. I'm just sitting there, just like just like Bob Saget on, like you see me in my Full House mode. Wait till I get off stage. Oh, y'all would look at me the same. Um, but I wanted to encourage everybody out there. We appreciate you guys. Real quick, where can they find you? All right. Shout it out. What your website is, Rena?
BetterCallDaddy.com.
All right. Y'all better be on it. That's what she said. Mark Reed.
ZenSammich.com. Pretty easy to remember.
Simple enough. And then Stock Guy, DJ.
Just follow me on LinkedIn. You'll find
Hey,
more of
just
what's going on
DJ.
there.
Hell, he's everywhere. He'll be on buses for no reason. You'll just see DJ's face on a bus
That's
just
right.
because he thought
Listen,
he was bored. And it's funny because it's true. All right.
it's
before
not
we all
who you
go-
know, it's who knows you. Remember that, everybody.
Yeah, before I have to sneak on when we're leaving, because if I say we're leaving, everybody leaves. I don't want them to leave. The show's not over. Go check out Miss Raquel. Miss Raquel, I can't roll my R's. See her, where are you? Miss Raquel Flores. Her show on Saturday. I'm not sure if she just changing the times. Just be there Saturday. Y'all look on LinkedIn. It's everywhere. You'll know when she's airing it. But go check her out, man. Pack leader. I've known her for months. Work with her. And she's the first person kicking my butt, right? So thank goodness that she still likes me. And all boats rise. And there's Miss Jody Lamb to the right, this side.
Yes.
I'm not sure if the mirror image is right. And then there's our one and only Sia. Yep, look at that big
I had
old
to jump
smile.
in.
She's so happy.
I had to jump in because this Saturday's episode will be a special one, and it's because Raquel is going to be coming up to Dallas, and Jody and I are based up here, and so we're going to be all together, all in one little screen together. So
She has a pretty great last name too.
It is La Familia.
And I'll be sitting in my tree and by myself again. Well, Rena, when you coming to Louisville? She'll never tell me. He's like, I ain't telling you.
Yeah,
you
the
crazy
fam
nut.
is coming here this weekend. Actually, they're coming to Houston.
Hey, tell them I'll sit on top of the luggage rack if I have to. I'll pay for gas money and some food. I'm coming too. All right, I'll be there. I'll see you all soon. All right. Go check out Raquel. She is amazing, has great guests. Great. If you want to be a part of the pack, part of the Hounds community, there's no putting you down here. All boats rise. Just do it. That was what you heard all these people take their time out for. What are you doing, robot? Go calm down. Look at C over. So, did I miss something? Did I miss a cue?
No, I'm just showing like
Oh, okay.
go Raquel's corner there. So
here,
anyway.
Here, stop that. All right. So you all appreciate you all, everybody in the audience. Y'all make it fun, man. March, don't forget March. Watch my post and come to me about that. I cannot wait to showcase up and comers with people who are there. That is just exciting to me. So if I could ever be of service to you guys, y'all let me know. Rena, super excited about you. Keep us posted on that. That's awesome. I'll be looking for you. And Sia, you're the best. You put up with me after a hard days of work and all my goofiness and stuff ain't right and people blame you. It's actually me. So I appreciate you, man. You make me look good, and that's no easy task. Yes, ma'am. All right. So without further ado, hey, we'll catch you on the next one. Go be nice to each other. Go share your crayons. Practice them daggum kindergarten skills. All right. Have fun while you're working, and we'll see you around, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you. And take a sip. He said, "Dadgummit."
Dadgummit. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.